Little intro. Hello, we are here today with Sergio Cariello. I swear, like I want to announce you like a boxer or like a wrestler or something when I say your name. But uh, but we'll be right back after our intro. All right. Yeah, I want to do it like Sergio Cariello. Or something. You should have somebody do that where whenever you walk in places.
Yeah.
Today we have two real Florida men, one fake Florida man. Um, I swear, I want it. Yeah, and a dog. Don't lick butts.
Mac is so well off, she hires another dog to lick her butt.
I was gonna say that's pretty good. Someday you'll be that famous. Yeah. So, anyways, this is Sergio. I know Mike had some questions for him. Um, And Sergio and I are both in Florida. Mike is in Colorado, just in case anybody wonders, because sometimes we do get asked those questions. So, anyways, um, yeah. Uh, was there? I know if you wanted to talk about Thin Blue Line up front, real quick, you could, since Sergio did
Cover.
the variant cover and everything for it.
Most people know that we're crowdfunding a graphic novel called Blue Line about two police officers trying to survive a night of riots in a Midwestern city. It's ripped from the headlines, but there's no preaching, there's no condescending lectures, it's pure entertainment. My artist is a full time police officer. It's a beautiful book. It'll grip you by the throat on the first page. It's a fantastic read, and that's why I wrote it, because my first goal, as always, is to entertain. It's on Indiegogo right now. We'll run the script below the show so you can connect it. But if we don't, you can find it at Florida at thinbluelinecomics.com. Thinbluelinecomics.com.
Yeah, and
Pistol Fist.
yeah, I was gonna put it in. I was putting it in the chat since we have some people in the chat already.
Great.
Yeah, the link is in there. I guess we both put it in there. Um, Good to see you, Fool Killer, whoever you be. Yeah, I just wanted to let people know too. I'm actually launching a Kickstarter for my Pistol Fist comic. It's like the 15th anniversary, and I'm launching it on November 17th, which also happens to be my birthday. So I can guilt people into getting it for me or pledging for my birthday or something. But it's just the way it worked out. And so yeah, I'd love to have your support on there. And yeah, continue supporting the the people that the writers and artists that you like and that you believe in. It's definitely it's a different time right now. There's a lot of independent people and a lot of people from the majors who are leaving the majors to do their own stuff and finally get what they're wanting to be paid and what they deserve to be paid, honestly. Um, but uh, yeah, and we know that and just so a lot of people know, because he hasn't it wasn't that long ago. I don't know when the last time Sergio did something, but I know he did do stuff on the um, Lois and Clark comic thing. That he inked it. He didn't draw it.
Well,
Right.
Sergio, why don't you tell us what DC comics you've drawn?
Okay. Um, DC Comics
Deathstroke.
was the second company that I worked
Yeah.
at. First, the third company, actually, because I first started drawing for Caliber Press. Gone, H.P. Lovecraft's adaptation. And based on that, I was at the bullpen at Marvel Comics, still working on Dagon, when editors gave me some Daredevil to do, Spider-Man, Avengers, What If, Spellbound backup stories on Marvel Comic Presents. And then after that, I did Deathstroke monthly for a year. Then I did a bunch of DC different projects, like miniseries with Chuck Dixon, Bo Smith, Wildcat, Catwoman, Wildcat, Batman, Wildcat. Yeah, I think there was just two. And then worked on Azrael for a year from Denny O'Neill's scripts. Also did a miniseries with Denny O'Neill of Legend of Dark Knight, The Bat and the Arrow, or The Arrow and the Bat, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I did some showcase for DC and some one fill-in Wonder Woman, the Superman 1980 thing story, and I did a few issues with Lee Weeks inking his work on Spider-Man, Daredevil, and a few other things that I can't remember, but I did a lot of things for DC and Marvel.
Isn't this the best-selling graphic novel of all time?
The Action Bible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is over 2 million copies sold in America alone. That's pretty good to be.
How long did it take you to draw this?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
And
the
he-
Action Bible was published by David C. Cook. They saw my work for the big companies and also some other illustrations that I did for Glory to God, Prophets and Parables, and they hired me to revamp the old picture Bible from 1970s. So the Action Bible was published in 2010. Then 220, we had an anniversary extended edition that was also a success, and that's the one that you hold. You held in your hands was the extended edition. Was
that's awesome.
The 10th year anniversary.
It's over 800 pages.
Revamp of the original.
Yeah.
2010 launch.
Yeah.
I did some things for Dark Horse as well with Bo Smith, Badlander, and some stuff for Image. Did some pinup for Tom McFarlane. I did some stuff for Disney and Christian publishers as well.
Yeah, and you
Dynamite.
Did. Yeah, Dynamite. I was gonna bring that up because you said
of the Lone Ranger, 2007. We got the nomination. Brett Matthews was the writer, and we got the nomination 2007 for Best New Series. So I attended the Will Eisner Oscar of Comics with family. It was fun to be a part of that too.
And didn't you start working on the Action Bible when you were still drawing Lone Ranger too?
So I've been around.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
Sergio, have you ever gone to San Diego Con?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Have you been to the San Diego Comic Convention?
I bet he has.
I don't think he can hear us.
No, I don't think so either.
I can't hear you guys.
Yeah, we're on.
Let me try something else. Okay.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. Oh.
Whoa.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you
He
hear
could
us?
hear us.
A little bit.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can
what
you-
happened was I was using my phone and somebody called the.
Can you hear us?
Oh.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
what
might be
happened was I was
YouTube,
using.
Sergio.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
the
the sound
YouTube.
turned on.
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah,
That
what
might
happened
be
was I was
YouTube,
using.
Sergio.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
the
sound
YouTube.
turned on.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah, what happened was I was using. Yeah, that's the YouTube.
What's
We're playing
actually
with endless technical difficulties.
what's actually kind of funny about this is he's Sergio loves his technology too.
What's actually endless technical difficulties.
What's actually kind of funny about this is he's Sergio loves his technology too.
Are we still having an echo?
Yes, we are.
Shut off YouTube.
Can you turn the YouTube off?
Are we still having an echo?
Yes, we are.
Shut off YouTube.
Echo. YouTube off.
Are we still having an echo?
Yes, we are. Echo. YouTube off.
And it was working so beautifully.
Yeah. Was there anything you wanted to share or anything, Mike? About
Well, I'm sure you know that I've approached Sergio about doing a Nexus series, which Dark Horse has agreed to publish if they can come to terms. But it all depends on whether they can come to terms. They're pricing out my new projects right now. Mike Richardson has said that he's open to any Nexus projects that I bring him. But of course, he prices them out. He's not in business for fun, and he wants the books to show profit.
Yep.
And Nexus is not an enormous seller at this point. It does bring in some money, and what we get paid depends on how he prices it out and whether he can afford it. Now, I'll keep doing it through Dark Horse, even if they lower my page rate, because Dark Horse returned the copyright and trademark to Steve Root and me in an unprecedented action that's never been done before by any comic book publisher.
yeah.
And we're eternally grateful for them. And Mike's a huge supporter. He loves the strip. He loves the Dudes version, and he loves my version.
Mhm.
Of course, I always use first-rate illustrators because Mike is visually oriented, and as long as the book looks good, it doesn't matter that Steve Root didn't draw it, because there's enough Steve Root material out there for Mike to republish, like the recent Gormando book.
Right. Yep. Well, hopefully that does work out. Hopefully.
What are we going to do about Sergio?
I don't know. I will try and get a hold of him.
Maybe if he clicks off and comes back in.
Yeah, that's what he did before. Well, maybe.
Sergio.
Oh, he's on there. Maybe I'll try to show you your thing real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know
That's
what
okay.
happened. I had to shut everything down.
We're glad you're back. Have you ever been to the San Diego Comic-Con?
Only about 12 times.
I was gonna say I thought he went a few times with Chuck or something.
Chuck never went to San Diego.
Chuck never went.
You're kidding
Ah,
me.
wow.
I don't remember him going to San Diego. Maybe he did once, but
I don't remember him ever being there either.
That's true.
Not that it's essential, and who knows when it'll start up again. I was at a convention in Albuquerque this past weekend, and due to the restrictions, it was an enormous space, and the booths were all spread out with like 15 to 20 feet between each booth, which was senseless because the crowds weren't that great.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. They had a lot of B movie actors there. In fact, the B movie actors greatly outnumbered the comic book people. They had a wrestler named the Honky Tonk Man, and they had a B movie actor, John Glover, that I've always admired. He's in Scrooge, and he always plays a bad guy. He's a great bad guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely.
So, Sergio, how do you see the American comic book industry right now?
I still go to the comic book store, and I see a lot of books there. They're selling a lot of comics. There's still conventions going on. People still come to your table to sign books and stuff.
Do you buy comics?
I buy comics mostly for the art, because that's what I like to do. I like to draw, and
Right.
I get inspiration by artists. I still enjoy reading Asterix, the French comic,
Mm-hmm.
and I like old comics too. And I've been enjoying reading this comic that I've read a few things about it, but I'm enjoying reading Nexus by this guy, Mike Barron.
Yeah.
Well, I did mention that we're in line for a series at Dark Horse if we can come to terms.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mentioned the way that we can come to terms, which is I hope that you and Mike can reach an understanding. I'm going to do it anyway to get it out there because I got it right, you know.
Yeah.
But they haven't disappointed me yet. I mean, I can't complain about the Patriot. It's the same I was making in Marvel or DC, although it hasn't changed in many years. And of course, the comic industry may be in a state of contraction right now. I hope that Dark Horse is not, but certainly no one could deny that Marvel's and DC sales are down for the primary reason that their comics are no longer entertaining.
Yeah, I hope we work it out. I really enjoy this character because Mike and I have been trying to work something together for a while, and then on the last idea that we had together, I asked him put Nexus in there, and then he did. But I've been busy. He's been busy, and I was still working out some things on this idea that we had.
Yeah.
But then he told me that he talked to Mike Richardson, and he was working on a Nexus miniseries and with my name on it. And I was really excited. Got the whole collection, so I can get used to the character. I loved everything that Steve Rude did with Mike. And tough shoes to fill in, but I really enjoy. I think I have the same inspirations that Steve did, like Andrew Loomis. Love Andrew.
Yeah,
Loomis
do
anatomy.
worship Loomis, as do most artists. Loomis' book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, is an essential anatomy book for most comic book artists.
Yes. Yeah, I love Steve's set of mind, how he draws, and I dig that a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun to do. So I'm open
to that idea and excited about it. And so let's see what happens, And we also doing this, and I posted one drawing of Nexus that you put it on introductory.
Yeah.
So we want to have a feel of the reaction from people and the interest that people would have and buy something that Mike and I work together, and especially the Nexus.
I visited Steve a month ago in Phoenix to sign copies of The Coming of Gormando, which he published himself. And the deluxe version is enormous. It's enormous, and it weighs 10 pounds and costs $150. But it's indestructible. You could build a house out of those books, and they're all spoken for.
Wow.
You're talking about what, an artist edition of the Nexus?
I don't know if you'd call it an artist edition. I prefer to call it a really big, expensive edition. But this is the book.
Okay.
And it's available on Amazon right now.
No, I have that book.
Yeah. Did I send it to you?
No. You sent me the Omnibus 8.
Right. People should know that all the dialogue in that book is by Steve Rude.
Yeah, they're doing their own versions. Mike's doing his versions, and Steve's doing his version. I got to tell you, I would love to see Sergio do Badger too. I think he'd draw an awesome Badger.
Maybe I'll work that in there.
I was gonna say, man, I could see Sergio doing it, and I'm sure he'd draw Judah well too.
He'd do a great Badger. In fact, Badger makes an appearance in Monster Hunt 2, Let's Get Crackin', which is at the printer now. And that's a graphic novel that I did with Matthew Weldon, using Mike Miller's character, Lone Star, and Doug Tenople's character, Bigfoot Bill.
Yeah.
And the art for that is spectacular. Matt Weldon is just a wonderful artist, and the coloring is superb too. And Mike did a wraparound cover that's brilliant. We have another wraparound cover from Matt, and we got a couple more covers too.
That's cool. Yeah. I know you didn't hear me before, but I'm pretty sure I remember when we had talked another time. Didn't you say that you were starting to do some of the Action Bible while you were still doing the Lone Ranger at the same time?
Yes. Yeah. 2006 was when I started drawing the Action Bible, and I was doing the Lone Ranger, and I was doing Son of Samson for Zondervan.
Yeah, that's right.
Written by Gary Martin. Gary Martin was the inker of Steve Rude's The Moth.
Right.
Yeah. So Gary came up with this idea of a fictional character, son of Samson, the biblical Samson.
Right.
And they pitched it to me, and I loved doing it. It was an animation style. So at the time, I was drawing 50 pages of that Son of Samson a month, then 20 plus pages of the Lone Ranger, and 27 pages of the Action Bible, everything inked by me.
How did you work that out with your schedule? Like, how many hours a day were you working?
I was pretty busy.
He's like, it's called coffee.
Yeah, I was busy, and I had my wife helping me filling in the blacks on every page. I'll put X's, and she had a steady hand and spotting the blacks for me.
Oh, cool.
And every family and friend who stopped in the house, I'll put them to work erasing pages and stuff, because I didn't do digital stuff back then. It was all
right.
But at the very end, I was scanning and formatting the pages. Then I got a feel for the digital format. So I did a lot of digital after that. But the Lone Ranger, Son of Samson, and Action Bible, they were all done traditionally. So yeah. I was inking, over 100 pages a month. I've like 50 Son of Samson, 20. Yeah, it was a lot of work, and I had 7 colorists working under my studio on the Action Bible, and
Wow.
2
Right.
letterers. So I was extremely tired after 3 years.
Prince, what books are you referring to that you want to see online?
Is he talking about the Action Bible, or is he talking about the other stuff?
The Lone Ranger?
Trying to find out what this guy is. He's asking where he can see stuff online. I don't know if he's talking about. Is there a place where they can see stuff for the Action Bible online, where they can see actual pages and stuff, or just?
Yeah, just Google Action Bible, and there's a digital form that you can probably get in Comicology or Amazon Digital. What is that? Kindle.
Yeah, it's Comixology and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Lone Ranger is also
the
very
Badger.
searchable.
Yeah. The Badger, Nexus, and Lone Ranger, I think, are all on Comixology.
Yeah, Son of Samson is also at Amazon,
Yeah.
but it was HarperCollins Zondervan.
Oh, and
It was 8 volumes, 50 pages each.
and
Yeah,
they
Prince, just go to Amazon.
yeah
or
go to Amazon pretty
Comixology.
much, and go to Comixology. You can find a lot of the stuff. I don't know how much Badger stuff is on there. I know you can definitely find a lot of Nexus and Lone Ranger.
Yeah, well, if you type my name, Sergio Cariello, and Google it, you see a bunch of images of every work that I've done.
Yeah, and if you follow find Sergio on Instagram or Facebook and go through all his photos, he uploads a lot of his photos, and he does
That's
it.
true.
And especially on Instagram, I think he posts a lot of pictures of him drawing stuff too, like recordings showing as he draws it and everything. And so
That's right, and my YouTube channel as well.
yeah, and he has a YouTube channel. I did want you to tell Mike, because I don't think Mike knows this, and it's kind of funny too. But the Son of Samson character that they had fairly big red hair, and what did Zondervan want you to do with the with the big curly hair?
I forgot exactly what it was.
You said they wanted you to make it even bigger.
I don't remember exactly what they wanted, but I know that they wanted me to change the looks of the character that Gary and I created, and and I basically told them that if I had to change anything, I wasn't interested.
Yeah, especially, man, I can't even imagine, especially with as busy as you were, how that would take you, how
And also because I was very fast, I did 90 pages of thumbnails.
Right.
And then the 90 pages were done. They wanted me to change the format and go the manga style, reading from right to left.
Wow.
And I told them no.
Wow. That's a lot of work. What is your when you have day? I'm sure you probably have days off, although I know you love to draw. But what does your regular work day look like nowadays when you're drawing?
Well, I always work on 6 things simultaneously, 4 to 6 to 7. It depends on the month. Some people request some stuff. Got to be done by this month, whatever, and I squeeze in. So less time on TV and more time on the drawing board, and sometimes I use the iPad with that program.
I can't think of it either, but I know what you're talking about. You're you've done a lot of videos.
Yeah, I did that. I did those characters for you.
For us, yeah.
With that. Oh my
goodness. Our podcast thing, Supersonic Pod Comics is our podcast.
Yeah, it was done with the iPad drawing app.
It's the one a lot of people use.
Yeah, what's the name of it?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like it because you can do 4K resolution in there.
Yeah.
And I have the first generation iPad Pro, 12 inch.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work on that and then transfer to the Photoshop on my computer, or vice versa. I can I can start on the computer and finish there, or I can start it there and finish here.
Do
So
you?
sometimes I
Yeah.
just work, in different environments.
Do you do? How do you do perspective and things? Do you actually plan it out, or do you ever use any like 3D models or anything? I know you've been doing it forever now, so you just
I eyeball it
yeah,
mostly. I don't do too much crazy uh, perspective, but maybe I should. I know that a lot of guys do a lot of perspective lines all over the place,
right.
um, and I think it's great. Whatever works. I also teach still at the Cuba School online now because of the pandemic. They
Right.
reopened the online schooling, so I give my students tricks and tips to be faster about perspective and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. They said RF said Procreate.
Procreate. That's a very good tool.
Thank you, RF.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there if you could go back in time, is there anything like what would you tell your younger self when you were starting out in the comic industry or after you came here from Brazil?
If I could tell myself something,
Yeah,
like
what
be
like
careful,
what
beware
advice?
of Mike Barron, beware of
Yeah,
Jeff Earls,
stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
be ready with your guitar to play something,
Yeah,
a
to play
funny
something
song for.
just in case. Even though we're having you on a comic podcast about drawing,
Yeah,
have your guitar ready.
yeah, yeah. Now I would just say be excited. Great things are coming your way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and honestly, man, I'm still surprised that you're doing that much stuff. Um, but yeah, you seem. I guess you're kind of, although you're more prolific than me. You're. I guess you always have to have stuff going on, and
It's not that I have to. It's just that one thing pulls
leads.
another.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes I even sometimes badly I don't answer to every email that I get,
right.
but I try to remember the ones that I think it sounded important enough, and I get things going, and it happens, and so we get some things going on with different clients and stuff. But the Action Bible brand continues to grow, and I'm busy with them still, and also Focus on the Family. I've been involved with them for years, drawing imagination station books, young wit covers. So I do different things for Focus on the Family, different things for WC Cook Publishers, and some other Christian publishers, Kingstone Media. I still
Right.
work for them, and some other projects by different Christian uh, people who get interested in my work because they've seen my work at the Action Bible.
Yeah.
Um, and, on and off, I get to ink certain things. Like I was extremely happy to ink Lee Weeks because I love his
Oh
work.
yeah.
Um, and it was fun to do something for him. Um, and like I said, Mike and I have met at conventions, and I loved his ideas, and I think I hope we can work this Nexus thing. And Mike believes that I have enough fans that will make a hit. Mike Richards, Mike Richardson, are you listening to this?
Yeah. Well,
Mike never goes on social media.
probably not. But
That's okay.
but honestly, I mean, see, some people realize it, but like I kind of said this when Gabe was on a little bit. Is just there. There's a lot of people that don't know, and I don't mean like religious fanatics, but there's a lot of bleed over between a lot of there's a lot of creative Christian people who love comics and stuff, and don't have to be preached at or don't feel like they have to preach or whatever either. But there's a lot of bleed. Like there's so many people that buy comics, especially ones that kind of at least they don't have to be super Christian or whatever, but they like the good guys. They like evil being shown as evil, and they don't there's different things and like what it means to really be a hero and stuff. And like unfortunately a lot of the publishers don't seem to understand that, or they don't want to get that. But I mean, there's just so much bleed over with that, of people that believe in like morals and things like that, that like you would I say this because like I do think that they should look at stuff like, okay, well, Sergio has done the highest selling graphic novel of all time, and it's not like the Bible hasn't been done in graphic novels form before. So it's not like, oh well, it's just the Bible, and every time a Bible graphic novel gets done, it's number one. It's like, no, that's not true. I mean, sometimes it's because it's not done well, whatever. But I did, like, for me, like I mean, those numbers and stuff that you have for that should be impressive, I would think. And there are a lot of people that they like that, and there is the bleed over of people who believe in right and wrong and stuff like that, that believe in the things that not that I don't mind some explorations of darker sides of stuff, but I don't think they realize just how many people that have those kind of beliefs or are religious that also enjoy comics.
Yeah, it's tough to say what happens, but I remember when I came to America in 1985, and I talked to Alan Hartley. He did some Archie Christian
right.
Spire comics. He did the Cross and the Switchblade, something like. Yeah, and I talked to him on the phone, and he told me over the phone, Sergio, there's no market for Christian comics. That was back in the 80s, early 80s. When he told me that, I was not discouraged. I still dreamed of doing what I do.
Yeah.
So I was not discouraged by his remarks, and I proved him wrong over the years. But I don't know what happens that changes the perception of buyers, or I don't know the secret other than doing the best you can when we have the opportunity to do it. And I enjoy classic stories as well, like The Phantom and Tarzan, Russ Meany, Tarzan, Cy Berry, The Phantom, or Dan Barry, Flash Gordon. And I've recently purchased a few of those collections.
Yeah.
And I remember that Steve Rude did some introductions in Russ Meany, and as well as some other books that Russ Meany did of Korak. Fun books, that were not so complex, and that in a way that you didn't know who was the bad guy and who was the good guy. You knew who was who. And I think what changed in comics is that we went to a dark side,
right?
Of showing how bad Batman can be and how bad this can be. How bad I think is interesting, but I'm with Steve Rude's comments on when he did the Korak Russ Meany introduction, and he was saying about how, and that was back in a few years ago. I don't know when that came out, but he was already complaining that the books, we lost the classic story of good versus evil, and we went too much into a amalgam things that we don't know who is who anymore, and everything goes.
There's a book by John Gardner called On Moral Fiction, in which he argues that the reader expects to be a cosmic balance in the fiction, that is, that good is rewarded and evil is punished. Now, we've all seen great works of art, movies and literature, where good dies or is crushed, but in every one of those books, evil is punished as well. And the reader feels cheated if that doesn't happen. If you get an entertainment that glorifies evil, cruelty for its own sake, it's going to turn people off. They're going to go away. They don't want to see that because it presents a bleak and hopeless view of the world. And it contributes to depression, I imagine. You want to send the audience out of the theater feeling satisfied, at least to the extent that virtue will triumph or has triumphed, that evil will be punished. To do otherwise is to cheat the reader or the viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the difference is this. When you create, you should create something that you really enjoy. Not create something that you think the market would enjoy.
Yeah.
When you start looking at comics as a gimmick to make money, as opposed to as an extension of your expression,
Right.
then you don't really are in it for the story, but you are in it to provide something for a small group that won't buy comics anyway.
Right.
Instead of drawing something that you really enjoy, and most people, if you really enjoy, most likely you have a great audience that thinks like you and will enjoy it as well. So if you see of any successful comic and movie, it's because they really love doing what they did. And if you miss that, I think you lose that simplicity of why do it. I don't know if I make sense, but
yeah, no, and I do. I agree. I think that adds the extra element. It's kind of like, when people say that about like when you cook something with love, and it's like, but it's true. I mean, when you have that passion into it, and when you care about it and everything, it just adds that extra element, or that extra, I don't know, excellence or whatever. But it just, yeah. I mean, I like everyone I know, like there aren't too many things that are that popular that people have done that, from what I've seen from a million different interviews and different things with creators of all kinds, that the people that were involved with it didn't say that they were just like, it was really a labor of love, like that they really loved it and threw everything they had into it. I mean, I kind of think the new Dune movie is kind of like that. Of course, I like that director a lot.
Have you seen that?
Oh yeah. I liked it. It's definitely a lot more faithful to the books, of course, because they're splitting it into long parts. It has the time to do that. So it's got. I think they're even talking about possibly turning it into a trilogy, which Dune is a big book. Like you could do that, but yeah, it's at least going to have another part, if not 3 parts.
if you look, I'm sorry if I
yeah.
If you look at the Marvel movies, for example, when you do a movie based on a story that was successful, I think would be better to leave it alone and keep faithful to the successful idea. If you start changing too much and turning the character into something else, it becomes something else that nobody bought.
Right.
So when the first Spider-Man came out, it was so faithful to the comic book that I read from Stan Lee from the 60s.
Right.
That I think it was very successful, very, very fantastic. But when you do a Lone Ranger movie that is completely different from the Lone Ranger comic,
yeah,
you're still gonna have some kids who will enjoy that movie as a movie, but it's not the Lone Ranger that I drew.
Right.
The Johnny Depp movie, it's not the Lone Ranger that I illustrated. It's something else based on the Lone Ranger.
Right.
So if same thing goes for any movie, that has too many heads thinking on the plot, instead of allowing one guy, like did the trilogy, Precious,
Yeah, Lord of
Lord
the
of the
Rings.
Rings.
Yeah,
He had full freedom to do his thing, instead of
Right.
having too many heads telling him what to do. So it took long length movies, but it was successful because there was one guy loving to do, instead of having too many heads trying to change. The same thing goes for Pixar. What made Pixar so successful is that they allowed the creators to have the story to be their own and go with it, instead of head committee and too many heads thinking of how to make it successful, and so many writers, so many heads and ideas trying to clash. I don't know. It just some crazy stuff that goes on in creating something based on a successful story, and then messing it up.
Yeah.
You change everything, so it flops.
Yeah, I think the only ways that I've seen with different things that people have done that I think is like, if you have a formula, I think, because I understand, and I feel kind of feel the way too of like wanting something new from an old franchise, but I think the way to do it is to like kind of do like what it looks like they've done with the new Ghostbusters movie, where it's paying kind of, it's an homage to the past, and they play off of that, and they do it respectfully. It's not making fun of it or whatever. But it's kind of just an extension of the story, and it's still playing off of those things, so you can still go back, because that's the toughest thing. Like you're saying with the Lone Ranger movie, is like nobody, like there's nowhere for anybody to go. Like after they saw that, it's like, oh well, I like this. Let me go find more of it. It's like, you're not. That's not what Lone Ranger was, and there's nothing really like that. But with some of these things where it kind of pays homage to the past. I don't know if you've seen the Ultraman manga, but that actually does that really well too, where it pays homage to the past, and it's respectful, even with some of the corny or dorky stuff or whatever. But then it just kind of takes it to, okay, but now we're here now, and this is the way it is now. But it's still like and even with the designs and different things they do, they still point towards different things, and it's still made with love. It's not like, well, I'm going to fix everything I think was wrong with it or whatever. Like I do, it's like you're saying, man. I think everything needs to be done with love, with that you actually love this stuff, and you actually care about it, because that will be a guide for you not to go too far off base too.
Right.
you know but
Yeah. What do
yeah.
you think, Mike? If they made a movie of Nexus, I mean, you wouldn't want them to change his origin, right?
No, uh, I really I can't speak to that because something is in the works, but it's been in the works forever,
Yeah.
uh, and we don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I have seen the beginning, and it's exactly like the first Nexus issue.
Yeah.
That's the way to be successful. Uh, that's the way to be successful.
Yeah. Well, and I was able to see the stuff Mike is talking about, and I will say, like, it's the way that they're doing it. It's very much has that mixture of, this is the past and future, I guess, kind of style, that kind of retro future or whatever you want to call it. That Steve kind of did with a lot of his designs of the ships and things like that. And honestly, that's even a good example, because there's so much stuff that Steve did and created that he did out of love for the things that he loved in the past, with kind of somewhat mimicking Nexus's ship from Space Ghost ship, and some things like that. There's some different again, it's like, if you make it with love, then it's gonna, if it's something that you're passionate about and you care about.
Yeah,
But
Edgar Rice Burroughs, he suffered from that too. When they made Tarzan movies,
oh yeah,
and they were making him dumb, me Tarzan and you Jane,
yeah,
and that ruined his passion for the character, because he was not a dumb person. He was very eloquent, very intelligent. Um, he was a great stock, and
right,
so I think some heads in Hollywood think that, okay, we got to break it. It's too good. We got to make it worse. I don't know
yeah.
what happens.
Well, I think they don't love it. They don't care. They don't like whatever it is. They want to try to change the things into something that they like.
Right.
And it's like you're missing the point. It's like that's not, especially when you think of how do you reach the fan base? I'm going to give them something that they don't ask for and that they aren't interested in, you know?
Exactly.
It's,
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I do. I think that's the biggest thing. And when there's with a lot of the artists and writers I know, it's like, man, it's like, especially you enjoy it a lot more when you love it. I have a feeling that because you love so much of the stuff that you've done that you know it got you through the tough times with your schedule and everything when you had to. And like you said too, you're getting people to help you out and get your wife and other people to fill in the blacks and stuff. But
Yeah, and I'm a man of faith too. I believe in a super powerful being above me, who gives me inspiration, who gives me the gifts that I have, who gives me the opportunities that I have, and he gives me the ideas that I have, and the the solutions that I come up with for pages and stories, and methods of completion, and meet deadlines. So I'm not in a vacuum, trying
right,
to do everything on my own and trusting my own instincts. I acknowledge, and I acknowledge a creator, and I think there are fantastic creators who are atheists,
yeah,
and even without their approval, God helps them too, because it isn't God's thinking and method to create something that generates creations.
right,
So we that believe, we give credit to that creator. Those who don't believe, they think they did it on their own, but they actually have a gene and DNA that came from a superior being that made them think the way they do, that made them talented and gifted the way they are. And if we acknowledge that, you have maybe an ingredient to be successful as well, as opposed to just depending on your own uh, personal pride. There is victory in humility when you say, God, I don't know how to do this. Help me. And then he helps you. And you say, oh, thank you. That was a great idea. And I've been able to help others too. When people ask, Sergio, how can I cope with this? Give me some hint.
right,
And I have to say, it's impossible to give the right answers to everyone who's looking to do certain things.
right,
But I believe that I've gotten a lot of things because of my God. So I can, and I have all the right to say to people and ask, do you believe in God? So if you do, we may help you find the right doors and close the wrong ones. So um, I had to throw that in there.
yeah. No, and I mean, I'm a believer too, and the I think that there, especially in these days, I mean, I do think humility is really important and being humble. That's my biggest that w- when I gotten in deep conversations with some different people, that's been my biggest complaint about some different belief systems that say that they acknowledge God, but yet they take all the credit. And I'm like, it's like, well, but then you're not really being humble and really, you're kind of taking His glory, and and there's especially nowadays online, it's like, man, it really serves you better to be humble than to be prideful or to be arrogant. And I mean, every single one of us knows that we don't know the future. We don't know what opportunities are around the corner. I mean, just like you were saying, I mean, the biggest thing is just to, keep is with every aspect of your life, but especially in the arts, to keep practicing your craft and everything and working at it so that you're ready when the opportunities come.
And also, having faith helps you cope with your everyday struggles in
Yeah.
your life. We all struggle. We all have doubts and fears and concerns, and sometimes you may find comfort in a wrong comforter.
Right.
It may give you in a deeper trouble if you are not careful. So, so it's good to be able to know how to handle your everyday challenge. You got health issues, you have family issues, you have other things in relationship, and know how to deal with people, learn how to deal with your bitterness and your forgiveness, and all that helps you to be a better person, healthier person, and peaceful, calm.
Yeah.
When instead of being so bitter and angry, a lot of artists are very angry.
Yeah.
A lot of creators are very bitter because life is tough, and relationships is not easy. And when you read biographies of creators, some of them kill themselves, others get into drugs, others get into alcohol or whatever. So life is not easy, but if you know how to cope with that, uh, it helps you in your schedule and your fulfillment of accomplishments, and gives you wisdom in when to say no, when to say yes to certain projects, etc.
Yep. And since we're coming to the end of the time here, you would be wise if you went to Indiegogo and supported Thin Blue Line, and you grabbed Sergio's cover on there. Actually, Sergio's cover is one of my favorites. There's another one on there too that I like a lot. One of the other variants for it.
Butch Guice.
Yeah, Butch Guice's. Yeah, I like his a lot too. Those are probably my two favorite covers for it.
And Jeff, don't you have a campaign going on right now?
No, I don't. Not right now. I don't. On November 17th, I will.
That's right. That's right, on your birthday.
On my birthday.
So let's give Jeff a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And support Pistol Fist, which is a Revolutionary War comic.
And please let us know, viewers, what do you think? Would you buy a Nexus drawn by Sergio and written by Mike Barron, the creator of Nexus? And would you support that? That's good to know.
Or would you buy a Nexus written by Sergio and drawn by Mike Barron?
That you really need a lot of faith in switching the world there, because he would need to teach me how to write the way he does, and I have to teach him how to draw.
I know.
I love the opportunity, Mike. Thank you for that opportunity.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jeff, for this open line with Mike for this and for his projects. And I wish you all success and more great.
You too, bud.
Yeah. And if you're gonna pray about anything, pray about them getting things worked out so they can do their comic together with Dark Horse. I think it's gonna happen. I have faith.
Thanks, Jeff.
I hope so.
Thanks, Sergio.
Thank you, guys.